Hello and welcome to the speaker series presented by the Entrepreneurs Forum. This is your weekly destination for enriching insights and dynamic conversations with industry experts. Join us every Thursday as we delve into the world of business and innovation through this exclusive online series hosted here on Zoom. Our forum is designed to be an outlet for professionals and enthusiasts alike, providing a unique opportunity to learn from guest experts in their respective fields. And we curate each session to bring you the most valuable and up-to-date information, creating an environment of learning, networking, and growth. These conversations will not just be a one-time presentation. They will be transcribed and published in the bi-monthly issues of the Bellwether magazine, a lifestyle and financial magazine for entrepreneurs. If you feel that you would be a good fit to be a guest, please apply through our guest speaker application in the link that we will provide upon completion of each episode. Our series will consist of 4 different hosts. The first Thursday of the month will be the Financial Canvas with Boris Blum, where he discusses financial insights and navigating the complexities of finance with experts who will share their knowledge on investment strategies, market trends, and financial planning. The second Thursday of the month is Radiant Resilience with Jessica Carwatt. She discusses how to boost your business by prioritizing your health. You'll discover the latest in wellness trends, mental health strategies, lifestyle tips, and more to maintaining your balance and entrepreneurial journey. The third Thursday of the month is Tech Horizons with Casie Millhouse. Stay ahead of the latest technology with discussions on emerging technologies, digital transformation, and innovative business solutions. The third Thursday of the month is Marketing Maverick with Fritz Collinet. Well, you will learn from the best in advertising and marketing as they reveal secrets to effective branding, digital marketing strategies, customer engagement, and much more. This is more than just a forum. It's a community that can be joined on LinkedIn, where ideas develop and connections are made. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out as a rookie, our speaker series is the perfect platform to enhance your knowledge, expand your network, and inspire your entrepreneurial spirit. Join us every Thursday on Zoom. Make sure to secure your spot and be part of this exciting journey of learning and growth. We look forward to welcoming you to the speaker series. Let's embark on this journey of exploration and discovery together. And stay tuned until the end for a very special announcement. So this week, we welcome you to Tech Horizons with Casie Millhouse. Casie is an influential figure in the fields of augmented reality, marketing, digital advertising, and virtual reality. She has a rich background in technology and innovation, with significant contributions in AR and VR, particularly in e-commerce advertising. Welcome, Casie.
Hey, thank you. So happy to be here.
So happy to have you. So you actually kind of got started with kind of a different journey than most. Your journey started from a gymnastic coach to an augmented reality specialist.
Yes.
How did this come about?
I know it's kind of crazy when I think about it. Yeah, so I was a high performance gymnastics coach for almost 2 decades, coming out of college. And I kind of like hit a point in my career with coaching where it was either I commit to driving Olympians towards the Olympics and World Championships. Ironically, I have one of my gymnasts that I trained when she was 8 to 12 that qualified for the Olympics this year.
Nice.
I'm excited for that. So it's either dedicate my life to other people's children, to take away time from my own children. I had just become like a newer mother, or open my own gymnastics center. And those were kind of like the only real two options to kind of like keep growing within the sport of gymnastics. And for me, I really didn't want to, be in the gym 50 hours a week. And I also, I considered opening my own gym, but I live in Singapore where space is very scarce. Open a very capital heavy business like that is incredibly risky. I would say when done right, people are very successful and there's money coming in and expansion. However, I wasn't ready to take that type of risk. And so I also kind of was in this space, you know, in Singapore, where things are growing really fast in terms of technology. And I was like, well, how is this shaping the world? Like, how is tech, you know, doing this? And so I dedicated my time outside of the gym and after my kids would go to sleep to learning as much as I could about technology. In fact, I learned how to code while I was breastfeeding. So that's kind of a crazy thing. And I was selected to be part of a boot camp program. So boot camps are where you do a very intense training on learning how to code with experienced mentors. And then the goal out of that is to get put into a software engineering role with a company or startup or MNC. And it was founded by a woman at Facebook at that time. And I remember her when we finished it, she's like, well, do you want to come work at Facebook? Do you want to be a software engineer? And I'm like, actually, I learned I really don't want to do this, but I'm really interested in tech. I was also really interested in marketing. So I kind of took like my coding skills and became really good at marketing. And started doing some freelance work for technology companies, needing contractors. One of the companies was a virtual reality company here in Singapore that sold customization for yachts. So either pre-builds or for yacht sales. And the very first time I put that like toaster looking thing on my head, I was like, you know, that was 2017, the summer. I was like, this is exactly what I need to be doing. And my mind just kept on going and I was so excited. And back then there really wasn't much information about VR and AR. And I just dove in head first, learning from experts. You know, one of the things I learned coming from, you know, no technology at all to kind of like becoming like a leader in this space is I always sought out people to learn from, whether that's like a PhD somewhere or an entrepreneur or somebody that's like a thought leader in this space. If they treated me like a child, like of curiosity, and that's kind of how I looked at a lot of things. If they were very kind, I was like, okay, I know that I want to work with this person. I want to continue to learn with people. But if I got a lot of, you know, kind of like, I'm too good for you, you should learn on your own, whatever. I realized like, these are people that I would not want to work with in the future. And this is also the type of person that I do not want to be. So that's kind of how I got started.
Yeah. So, I mean, so you basically taught yourself code and learning from others. Did you have any challenges with that?
It's frustrating, yes. There's like a shift when you learn how to program and do logic. Like it changes the way of your thinking and setting up like processes and systems, even planning. So yeah, it is really frustrating, but there's so many free resources online. I was taking like free code camp all the time, doing lots of like, you know, YouTube tutorials. There's a wonderful thing about the developer community is they're so helpful. Like if you have a problem with something, you just, you know, share your code and somebody will be like, oh, this is wrong or whatever. Now with AI, I'm actually going back to coding now with the help of ChatGPT and helping me like fix code because I'm, you know, technically a software engineer, but so yeah, I think there's so many great resources out there that are just free. It's free information. It just takes a mindset that you're not going to get it right and failing is part of the process.
Yeah, and getting that help from, like you said, the experts in it. This is why we started this series. This is why we're doing so much with the LinkedIn, is to bring all that.
Mhm.
Because we're all starting, we're all learning, we're all intrigued by, there's so much out there. And with AI and Chat GPT, I mean, it changes every day. We see it
Absolutely, yeah.
every day. So you're never gonna know everything. And that's where just learning as much as you can comes into play. So
Mhm.
when you were working at Facebook, or Meta as it's called now, as an augmented reality product specialist, can you share a little bit more about what you did? I know you probably had a lot that you can't talk about with your NDA, but what can you talk about that you did there?
Yeah, so I did quite many different roles. I sat on a specialty team. So we were brought in initially to with the meta immersive learning program. So there was a large $100 million fund. Our team was funded through that. And then we developed programs to explore how people learn and retain information with augmented reality in comparison to other media formats. And then under that umbrella, we also developed educational programs, teaching other developers. And then for my side, I took the role of educating other Meta employees about the products that we're actually building, because it's a massive company.
Yes.
And a lot of people really didn't understand, like they're mostly working on 2D screens,
Hmm.
and really didn't understand like augmented reality. And I actually started, I was one of the beta testers. So a private group of about 100 people around the world to test out augmented reality on Facebook. When it launched, they acquired a startup, and I was like, what is this? Like it's right when
Hmm.
I'm like getting into AR. So I knew the product from way back when,
Hmm.
um, developed with it and played around with it. Then after like the wave of layoffs, then my kind of role sort of shifted into going more into the product side. So what I would do is I would get feedback, complaints. I would collect everybody's complaints from the developers, but also from our advertisers because they're using the platform. And then a lot of times what happens in sometimes is an engineering team isn't close to the end user. They are really great at building things. Sometimes they don't
Hmm.
have the mindset or the understanding of the intent of why people do things they do on our apps or on Meta's
Hmm.
apps. I was like the translator of doing that. So it was like, okay, people are doing this, they're feeling this, they're trying to achieve this. Here are some ideas on how we could change that. So some of the products that are integrated with augmented reality, like the augmented reality ads, I'm very proud to say that like my ideas and thoughts and
Hmm.
contributions have helped developed that. And that's quite exciting.
Well,
Um, Collecting complaints and then turning it into
yeah,
solutions. That's what I
good,
did.
good. Yeah, basically what the rest of us do, collecting complaints on a lot of stuff. Now, you did surpass your revenue goals in the fourth quarter in 2022. What were the challenges or strategies that you overcame those challenges and used strategies to get to that point, to get that success?
Yeah, so that was a pretty big challenge at that time, a new product. And one of the things that we do or we did during that time is we would select a group of clients that we already had, and we would give them an opportunity to test it. They would be like a group of like 5 or 10 that we would work with after we did internal testing.
Mhm.
Then we choose that group, and with that group we would work with them like white glove service to provide that end-to-end solution. And with that we were able to get really great results. and then build those case studies and use cases for those different verticals. And then from that, that's when we would kind of open up the testing. So it'd be like initial 5 or 10. Then we would expand that a little bit more based on vertical, whether that's like travel or, F&B or entertainment. Then we would go and get like 5 more in those specific verticals or different regions and do the same thing. But with a little less hand holding in the process. So it would be, developers or agencies working with the brand. And then we were there if anything broke rather than doing everything.
Yeah.
And then again, it would be collect those case studies and then go out for the launch. So then at the time of the launch, we already had really great case studies. We had really great testimonials as well to do the really big launch for it. And people were really excited because they're seeing really great results from these case studies and they were willing to invest at the time of the launch. And I think really that was like the key to success, especially when you're thinking about any new product, AR, VR, whatever. How do you get the results? What is the return on investment for some of these clients? I'll give you we worked with one of the airlines, Vietjet Airlines here in Asia. They made 102 times return on ad spend with augmented reality ads. People were buying flights after playing with augmented reality, clicking through, going to the website, and then purchasing. That is quite insane. So you think about these, most people will be like, oh, those funny face filter things, oh, those AR things, there's, the benefit is that they're engaging with people. I'm like, no, we actually had the data that showed that people are actively putting in their credit card to buy from, the advertisers' services and products through our product. And that was massive. And that's key to really hitting those revenue goals. And those goals were really high. At Meta, we don't put easy peasy goals. So
you don't become Meta by having easy peasy goals.
no.
Now, you're no longer at Meta. So what was your biggest takeaway from your time at Meta?
Yeah, so there were so many things that I learned at Meta. One of the biggest things was learning how to make these partnerships with different teams. Every team and everybody has their own agenda and what they have certain KPIs, certain things that they prioritize. So you have to really learn more about what they're trying to achieve and try to align in some way. I think that's one of the most incredible things that I am taking away is working with so many different teams across many different time zones. Everybody has their own reasons for doing something, but then pulling that together into one vision and driving that forward. So that was probably the key thing that I got from working at, such a large company and working on products that hundreds of millions of people use every single day.
So what are some of your upcoming projects or initiatives that you're working on that you're excited about the most?
At the moment, I have a couple of projects that I'm working on in the immersive tech space. So one is we're trying to help the deaf and hard of hearing community enjoy live music like never before. So with my venture studio, we're launching a project. Hopefully it'll turn into a fully fledged business on its own. But we work with event organizers or festival organizers or concert organizers, and we have developed modular haptic solutions. So they're little pieces of equipment that you can strap onto your arm, kind of like an iPhone band that you put onto your arms. You put them on your legs or a headband. and it gives vibration sensations that is synchronized with music. So it allows the deaf and hard of hearing community to really enjoy this new artistic expression. So I'm really excited about that. We have one festival partner already. And we've been talking to a couple of the different foundations, and they want to get involved as well. And this is actually coming out of the National University of Singapore. 2 PhDs are on my team, and so we're building this modular solution, so people can wear as many, or maybe only try a little bit if they have like sensitivities. So we're really excited about that project. Our first prototype should be done in June. And then we'll start doing like little mini parties with the deaf and hard of hearing community, with all my DJ friends. And so I'm really excited about that.
That sounds really neat. And hopefully you can
Yeah.
talk about it as you do in your podcast during that time. You
Yeah,
can talk about
I
and
might bring,
elaborate on it more. That'll be nice.
I would love to bring
So
in one of the
yeah,
PhDs on the to talk about his haptics.
that would be
And
amazing, actually. Yeah.
yeah, there's another project that I'm just getting started on. So one of the challenges, hold on, I'm gonna whip this out. One of the challenges that I saw, when I used to work at a company that did last wishes. So I would go with this headset, meet the family, and talk about where people wanted to go. And then I would work with the patient to put this on their head and then help them travel the world and experience anything that they wanted in the world. The problem is a lot of times they were very frail or very weak. Sometimes they couldn't sit up properly on their own. And I have to do the interactions like this, get it all set up, and then hand it and pass it on over to the patient. I was very frustrated with this process. I still have this frustration. One of my very best friends has cerebral palsy, and I always have to set everything up, and we go back and forth. She's like, it's not working now, and then I have to go and put it on here. So we're trying to figure out a solution so that I could co-pilot, or I could actually do the interactions from a mobile phone, or if we could link that up to the PC, and I could do the interactions for her while she goes through it. There is some new developments with interacting in virtual reality with voice, with Meta AI, and that's for Meta products. However, it's very challenging when somebody cannot move their fingers to do the selections and do the movements. But there's so many great experiences where it's a very passive experience, amazing meditation apps that she loves. But it would be so much easier if I could just like put the headset on her, and then I could do all the interactions from my mobile. I could see what she's doing. Or if I have 2 headsets, so I could put on my headset and be able to see exactly what she's seeing and be able to do the interactions with it. Kind of like what Team Viewer is? Okay, so it's Team Viewer for VR. That's what we're trying to do.
That's very interesting, and I've also often wondered about that, like the challenges, because I've got a small head, like a kid-size head, so I even have to wear kids' glasses. So just getting anything to fit me right would probably be the biggest challenge. But everybody's different. Everybody has different size heads, or and to me that would be one of the challenging aspects as well.
Yeah, the sizes are, my children play in VR for about like 15 minutes every few days. And like my 9-year-old, like things like this big on her. So cute though.
But I have a feeling things will adjust, and as technology gets more and more, it will adapt. And we have. I mean, think of it now. We've got these little things that we put on our face, so that just came about. So it is growing, and we'll see it. Now
Yeah.
you also joined forces with a friend to develop VR in the courtrooms for like legal advocacy. Explain that.
Yeah, well, I didn't develop it. I was actually a speaker for UNESCO,
Hmm.
um, for one of their forums that had, judges from all over the globe. One of the other panelists on it was this amazing woman. She's a judge in Colombia, and she was doing court proceedings inside of VR. So the defendants would be in VR, the lawyer would be in VR, she would be in VR, and they're all in different locations. And so she was like the first person to do those types of court proceedings. So we were just, having this discussion on what does this technology look like for the future of the courts, in the legal system. And then we also talked about like all the different kind of implications, what kind of ethical things, who owns data, what should we be afraid of, what should we be looking out for. And it's a really great discussion. I always love having these discussions with people that don't come from technology, because like people are kind of like in the tech bubble, kind of
Yeah.
how I talked about like software engineers. A lot of times they do that as well. But the industry as a whole, even like in the AR and VR industry, I would say it's the majority of the time is like kind of in their own tech bubble. So I love talking to people that are in other fields. I love giving them the headset to try it. In fact, I do dinners every month in Singapore for, 4 people in my industry, and then 4 other people that are from many other industries. And then we show them demos, and you can just see like their minds like moving on how they could solve problems or how they could use this in their field. And then, I've seen that happen before, like somebody like actually like trying it out, and then a couple of years later they'll come back and be like, Casie, look what we did. That's exactly what happened at the National University of Singapore with their Hello Medicine group. Back in 2019, it's before the pandemic, I was approached by a couple of surgeons, and they're like, Casie, we want to talk to you. Like, we want to learn about this. So I met with them, and I just shared, all the different like applications that are there and kind of like what could be done. Then they came back 2 years later, and I was at Meta, and they're like, Casie, we want to invite you here. Come look and see what we did. Now they're one of the top schools for medical surgery with mixed reality. They're also teaching all of their medical students surgery procedures with virtual reality and mixed reality. And it's just like quite amazing. Once you have people that are experts in their own fields get acquainted with this technology, they're the ones who are going to be building amazing tech. It's not the developers, it's not the big tech guys. Like the big tech guys are building like the platforms to enable all these developers and businesses and entrepreneurs to build solutions that people need.
Yeah. Now, you're also a part of a nonprofit community of women AR artists, and that's very commendable. So, what inspired you to create this community?
I think like a lot of the AR community, especially like creative technologists, are actually women. You know, at one point on Meta, we had like over 100,000 developers building AR on our platforms, and over 75 or 72% of them were females or identified as females. Yet, however, when we looked at the programs and we looked at the opportunities, we looked at like the awards for projects, most of them were going to males. And we were like, okay, we see like there's like this, the data is showing us this, and it's also showing that there's limited opportunities. And I wanted to support the women as much as I could from the outside of Meta.
Mhm.
And I also want to like build my own skill set as well.
Mhm.
So I reached out to a couple of the women in our community, developers slash artists or tech artists. And I was like, hey, do you guys feel like we should be doing something, just for us? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. So it was just, we just have like a Facebook group. We do Zoom calls every month. Every time I travel, I go to the city to meet other females in the developer community, but I also do that for all genders too. It was a challenge at first when we launched it because we did get a lot of flack for, hey, you're leaving out like the trans community. And I'm like, sorry. And like a lot of the guys are like, hey, we need a group. I was like, you guys already have a group.
Mhm. Yep.
And that's kind of like how I feel. And that was the reason why we did it. And in fact, I'm actually organizing a hackathon in Bali in March for the Augmented Equality Women to build a solution for a mental wellness charity. So I'm really excited about that.
That'll be interesting. You have a lot going on. Now you've had some pretty impressive collaborations in the past too. So you've worked with AR on with Coachella, Pink, NBA All-Star Game, BBC, and NASA. Can you share any of probably your most memorable experiment or something that stood out to you the most?
Yeah, those are big brand names.
Mhm.
They're kind of, like wow. But one of the most impactful programs and projects that I worked on was in Latin America, in Mexico. So I had an opportunity to put together a program to educate, to also give developers and artists a project and get paid for it, and also do like a cultural education program. And it was for Dia de los Muertos, so the Day of the Dead. So what we did is we funded 5 different AR projects in the city of Mexico. And the developers came from many different regions in Mexico, so they all have different traditions of the Day of the Dead, and they
Mhm.
translated that into augmented reality experiences. And we also did educational event and exhibition with the Central, which is one of the design schools inside of Mexico. We had only 100 spaces available. There were over 500 people that registered. People flew in from all over Mexico to come. The AR experiences were incredible, amazing. So I had two artists working on one project. One of them handcrafted these puppets, like these, oh shit. They have these like paper mache sort of things. So they do animals, they do other like ancestors, they do some of like the gods that like the Aztecs and the Mayans used to worship. And so this artist handcrafted a puppet, then she 3D scanned it, popped it into a software, like cleaned it all up, made it all amazing. Then they animated it, and then they popped that into the augmented reality software. And it was like just a really fun little celebration. Oh, they also used motion capture technology. So motion capture is where you could take like movement from a human and it will match up the points in the joints, like a skeleton. and then you map that inside of a 3D object. So that's what they did with the puppets. And then the puppets did all the dancing that the dancer originally did. So it's just such an amazing AR, augmented reality experience. One of the great things about that event too is that the Mexican Minister of Tourism showed up. Yeah, like I talked to him for quite some time, and he was really excited about the potential of using this technology to help people understand and learn a little bit more about the culture and make it a little bit more exciting. I even hinted at him, hey, World Cup is coming next year. Think of all the great things you could do with the artists in Mexico and working, the sponsorship and the brands, like how much fun things that you can do with this to celebrate, culture. Also, sports brings the world together. I think it's just like a wonderful thing. So I'm really excited about that because that program is the launch pad for growing not only like the industry, but like tourism and growing the economy through like developers getting work and artists getting work. And then also, it's all part of like a whole ecosystem once you think about it and growing the economy.
Now you talked about sports some, and I know you started a business networking initiative in the metaverse with VR. Golf foursomes?
Yeah.
So how did you come about that idea?
Yeah. This is what I was in Meta. Meta kind of took a lot of my time. I used to do a lot of networking, and then I ended up doing all my networking inside of Meta with, cross-functional teams all over the place. And I was talking to my teammate and I was like, you know what, like, I really miss like networking with like other people. And he's like, why don't you just do what you do? And I'm like, he's like, yeah, you always do fun things in VR. I was like, you're right. And so I just started putting together groups of people in VR. And go golfing. Like this game is amazing. I love it. I remember like bringing in a couple of investors, and then I would bring like some startups in from different places around the world. And it was a really great time, an hour just playing golf in VR. That's kind of how people like network too. We golf.
Yeah.
Like the funny thing is, I had never golfed in real life. After golfing in VR and doing these little like foursomes, I realized, hey, like maybe I should learn to golf. So now I've been like training with a golf pro here in Singapore at Golf Tech like every weekend. So it's like VR was like a stepping stone for me to actually like learn this sport. But yeah, that was a really great fun networking thing. And there's like golf charity events in VR too that I've attended. So yeah.
So you say you took up golf in real life. So how different was it from VR golf to real golf? What's
Totally different.
Totally.
It's totally different. In the VR golf, you can become this like monster of a person and see like the whole thing. Obviously, you're only using like a controller and not like a real golf stick. And like in my house, I can't have like a club in here and swing. I'll break stuff.
Yeah. It's like the Wii golf that we used to do.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. I don't know how many times I threw that controller towards the TV. Now, so during COVID, you couldn't get out a lot. I know that you did some social experimenting with dating in VR as well.
Yeah.
How did that go?
Wonderful. Actually, I just sent a message this morning to one of the guys I dated in VR. We're very good friends. So so it was COVID. I had just got a divorce. I didn't know anything about like dating apps and like this new way of dating because I got married before they were even invented. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it my way. So yeah, I did do the dating apps, but I would say like you have to date me in VR. And there's in Singapore, there's not that many people that have VR. It'd be like the people I worked with at the time. I did match with somebody that worked in another tech company. And the craziest thing, our very first date, I got stood up. He was a no-show. And I was like, I've been stood up in real life before. And it was so much better in VR because like, one, I didn't even have to shower. I didn't have to like get ready and put makeup on. So like that saved me time. I didn't have to travel. So I saved money on transportation to get there. I wasn't embarrassed. Like the last time I was stood up, I was sitting on the table next to people I knew, and they knew I was there for a date. So then they saw me getting stood up, saved me embarrassment. And it was just like, no problem, no big deal.
It was like, next.
Yeah. But then I started expanding out of Singapore. And I had some really amazing dates. I was dating men and women, and dated couples as well in VR. Even though you see people as like avatars, you could still pick up on just like the little nonverbal communication, like the you know, the lean in. They even have eye tracking, so like it'll show like the eyebrows of the avatar like going up like this, the voice and how people are. So it's totally different than just I would say doing like a video thing like this, because when they're next to you, you can hear them next to you. You can get closer. You can do, you know, with a screen, it's like, hi, I'm here, but you're over there. You still feel a distance. When you're in VR, you feel like you're in the same space. And we were able to, I was able to create these really great connections with people. They didn't turn into lasting love, but I do have at least like one really good friendship.
Well, that's good. At least you got something out of it, right?
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that AR hasn't even hit its tipping point in one of your podcasts. What do you think is necessary? What developments are necessary for AR to become more mainstream in industries, especially e-commerce?
I think it just needs to be easier. You know, when we're looking at applications in AR, and I'm not just saying like Meta and Facebook and Instagram AR, but also when you look at like the apps like from IKEA, IKEA has a wonderful AR experience with their app. Like you can design your home, it scans your room and you can design it, you can customize it. It still is a little bit clunky and it's not as user friendly. And when I think about my mother, for example, she struggles even just with the phone. You know, and for her to figure out like, how do I get this going? How do I get this AR going? Like, that's a big challenge. The products need to be a lot easier, a lot more user friendly. And I think that is what that is going to be that like tipping point. Like, you know, I believe we're still maybe like 5 years away when AR glasses, consumer ones, come out, because that's going to be a very simple interface. Put that on, you speak, you make some gestures, and then that's how it works. Unfortunately, like on a little screen, you know, it is, you know, technically it is already at hit a certain amount of mass. And you know, on Meta platforms, it was 700 million people in the world were using it. That's a lot of people. And if you take into TikTok, I don't know what their data is, but a lot of people are using AR there. A lot of people are using AR on Google. You know, like it's kind of the other way around where it's image recognition technology. But have you seen like, you know, the tools that does the translation? You just like point your phone at it, but it translates right for you. That's augmented reality. But still, there's lots of steps that you have to do before in order to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to take a while for us to understand what are the easiest ways in design and function to be able to build like these inclusive products where it doesn't, people like my mom could use it
Mm-hmm.
and understand it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking to build. And I think that's what we all need to think about doing. It has to
Mm-hmm.
pass the mom test.
Yeah. Of course, always. Because if mom doesn't approve, nobody will.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I'm very interested to see the future of AR and VR, and I can't wait to. I mean, we're just steadily growing, and even in the medical aspects, the golfing, just and being, like you're in Singapore and I'm here in Alabama, and but we could go golfing together, and feel like
Yeah.
it. So that's really neat. That's a way to bring everybody together, especially when we've just had the times of COVID, and
Mhm.
you never know, another pandemic comes out, might be doing it again. You never know. So it is very interesting to see the changes and to grow with it daily. It doesn't just happen once every 6 months. Every day
Yeah.
there's something new. And now with AI starting to take over, this is going to be the year of AI. Everything's just going to change. And you've either got to adapt to it or get left behind,
Yeah. Yeah. But I
unfortunately.
think like the best thing and like the best advice that I have for somebody who, wants to get into the future is like test out, try these out,
Hmm.
figure out what is confusing, what sucks about it, and
Hmm.
then complain about it to somebody, complain to me, complain, post about it on LinkedIn. There's
Hmm.
always other like developers or other entrepreneurs or people that are like, hey, this is a problem we should actually work on and try to
Hmm.
solve. Because those complaints can turn into solutions, and solutions can be very profitable.
Hmm.
And it's not all, it's not saying that a little solution isn't going to be valuable. Like
Hmm.
Meta, Google, all these large companies, they're not focusing on these like little problems. They
Hmm.
are hoping and they're banking on that entrepreneurs come together, start building these products and services on their platforms.
Yep.
You know, they're not building these things. They're not building these
Hmm.
solutions. So it does take more people to test it out, figure out like
Hmm.
what is wrong and come up with the solution. And that's what I just encourage everybody to do.
Yeah. And definitely it's easy to do with our LinkedIn group on the Entrepreneurs Forum. We're breaking them down to the days. On certain days are tech, certain days are marketing. And, it's actually growing pretty good. And a lot of people are starting to come together and be like, hey, well, I know this part and I know about
Yeah.
this. And so you're learning a lot more, especially when members come in and they tell their experiences. And that's what that group is about, is to learn more and more and more, because you want to share what you learn, you really do. But you want to learn more, you want to find
Yeah.
those solutions and get those connections. So that's what the group is all about, making that. And so now we have a special announcement. So we're pleased to announce that we will be hosting our first inaugural live event in Pensacola, entitled Horizon 2024 Coastal Synergy Summit. It's a gathering of minds and markets. So it's going to be presented by the Entrepreneurs Forum. It's going to be nestled against the vibrant backdrop of Pensacola's coastal beauty. Blue waters, love it. And it's going to be this Labor Day weekend, August 30th through September 1st. And it will mark a transformative journey for leaders in sales, health, technology, marketing, and more. So you'll immerse yourself in a melting pot of ideas where industry trailblazers and visionaries cover to share insights and forge new paths. From electrifying talks by top-tier experts to the opportunities of pitching your brainchild to a panel of seasoned professionals, this summit isn't just an event, it's a nexus of opportunity. So join us for an unparalleled experience where minds and markets meet to redefine the horizons of business and innovation. Your pathway to entrepreneurial excellence awaits. We're excited to announce that event. And you can learn more on the LinkedIn page. We're posting more. We're creating a website once we finalize everything. So it's exciting, exciting new news.
Oh, awesome. I've
Yep.
never been to Pensacola. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it is beautiful that time of year too. It's the blue waters really do come out that time of year. It's just gorgeous. It's that aqua blue water, and it is so nice and hot. So you enjoy at the beach. So might as well take advantage and go to the beach and stay a few days and enjoy the event. And we have lots in store for the event. Lots of things that we'll be announcing as we go. We want to keep it kind of a little bit building each month and each series so that we can, grow that interest into coming to the event. But we are excited about the event, and it's going to
Sounds
be
amazing.
like no other. So I do want to thank you for coming on today, letting me learn a little bit more about you and introduce you before we start having you switch roles and take on my part. And start interviewing those in the tech field. So that's going to be great. I look forward to seeing how your show goes throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, and I would love to ask anybody if they have anything that they're interested in learning about or getting more insight on, like let me know and I will find the expert to interview and talk to and ask all the dumb questions. I'm happy to do
Yep.
that.
Yep. And that's what the podcast is all about, getting those questions answered. And, people have questions. So let's bring those experts in so that they actually learn about all these different ways in tech, because there's so many. We talked about so many today.
Yep.
So thank you again, Casie, and I look forward to seeing you next month.
Yep. Thank you.
All
See you
right.
next month.
Thank you. You have a great day.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.